All right, well, all right, guys, what's going on? This is Johnny. It's Thursday morning here, my time, 6:30 a.m. This will be the first live stream of the day. I'll be going live one more time today. Before, as you guys are checking in, let's get into the habit of liking the video as soon as you guys tap in. So you got some work to do. Like the video and let me know where you're coming in from. Give me a couple minutes. I'm going to give you guys the rundown. What do I always say on the channel? I go after this the way I sort of approach giving you guys my picks, giving you guys my opinions and my logic on where to put your money. We're archaeologists. You know, we know this fight week was probably one of the slowest fight weeks since January. But as I sit here on Thursday morning, we won. We hit last week, or we hit last night. We hit with the UFC Dana White Contender Series. That puts us 2 weeks in a row of hitting all of the money line picks. We went 5 for 5 last week. We hit a plus 350. This week, we hit all 5 once again. I told you guys in my breakdown of the Dana White Contender Series, I didn't see an upset happening. I know some of you guys were getting on the sexy pick of taking the Mexican over the Brazilian. I didn't see it. Hopefully you listen to me. We hit another 5 for 5 at a plus 300. And then we also hit a method of victory at a plus 275, the last fight to end by stoppage in the first round. So all in all, if you took my picks yesterday in the UFC, let me know you took them. Like the video. Tell me, I want to know your wins as well. And that's us being archaeologists. I told you, we're going to find some victories. We don't need a huge, busy week to figure out the logic behind the fights, break down some film, sprinkle a little something on a favorite or a dog, and continue on our winning ways. Now, moving forward, I want to let you know the Discord is growing. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, we launched the Johnny Says Boxing VIP Insider membership on YouTube. That link is pinned in the comments here. That is a couple dollars a month. You get more access on the YouTube channel, you get more features on the YouTube channel, you get more accessibility to me, but more importantly, you become a member of our Discord. The Discord is already floating around 200 members, so that is awesome. And in that Discord, you're going to be able to pick the minds of all the like-minded members on my channel, professional bettors, professional gamblers. I have the Discord broken down into MMA. You boys have your own bet slips. I have it boxing, and then I have my own bet slips that says Johnny's Picks. So as you join the Discord, navigate the page. It's not that confusing to see where the threads are. It's pretty self-explanatory considering it's a text service. It's not one of these sort of complicated video streaming sites. But we do stream videos in there as well. We stream live fights. So that was another cool thing. You know, the last UFC pay-per-view event, one of the boys, shout out to Mr. Mayweather. Some of the guys didn't have options to watch the UFC pay-per-view, and he streamed the whole event in our Discord. Hopefully Dana White's not listening. But it was, I didn't even know you could do that. So just like you guys, myself included, this is a learning process. Join the Discord, click the link. And as you guys are tapping in, boxing fans in the house, Thursday mornings, which is your Wednesday afternoon, evening is usually kind of slower. But I'm going to keep it on. I'm going to do my normal hour stream. I'll give you guys also a rundown. We have a couple back-to-back awesome live streams we're doing. So tomorrow, which is my Friday, which is your Thursday, the second live stream of the day, which is my 11 a.m. in Sydney, Friday 11 a.m., Thursday 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the West Coast. I'll be going live on my channel with Chilltown Boxing. The bettors, the professional gamblers know Chilltown. He is what you call a handicapper. The dude's picks are ridiculous. He's been in the game. I mean, I think he's a little bit younger than me. He's a New Yorker. Very few guys I listen to, very few guys I'll invite on. People ask me all the time to come on the live stream. Very few, once I do my own vetting and my own due diligence, that I will sit and say, hey, yeah, you could come on whenever you want. Chilltown Boxing's one of them. Nobody's 100% on their picks, but the logic he brings into his picks are a little bit different. He uses film study, but he also comes at it from a more tactical approach from the gambling side. You know what I'm saying? So, you could be a wizard knowing all the matchups, knowing how styles make fights, knowing resumes, knowing records, knowing A sides, knowing B sides. But if you're lacking a little bit on the gambling side of things regarding why odds are a certain way, or if there's sharp money coming in, or patterns of betting on, hey, this guy fought last, and when he fought last, he started as an underdog. And just like last time, going into fight night, it's a 50-50 fight. Why do you guys think this is happening? So he's one of these guys. So he's coming on my stream tomorrow. He's a beast. He's in the Discord, Chilltown Boxing. And then the following day, I'll be going live on my channel, and we're going to split stream it. It's going to be me, Gary from 3D Boxing, Muscles, Tommy Ranone. So Tommy Razor Ranone is a former boxer. He's retired now. He's a little bit younger than me. He's a New York guy. Tommy has a show, a betting on boxing show on YouTube with Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie, former world champion. You guys, you don't have to follow Paulie long to know this dude's a wizard as well. It's kind of interesting when I meet certain generations of boxing fans or fight fans, and they might only know Paulie or recognize Paulie as the guy who sparred Conor McGregor or the guy who does bare knuckle. And, you know, sometimes he has controversial takes, and then I have to educate him like, dude, Paulie's a wizard. I've watched Paulie Malignaggi's whole career. We're around the same age. So I remember watching his first world title shot in, I think, 2002, 2003 at Madison Square Garden when he came up short against Miguel Cotto. So anyway, he's a legit world champion, and he's actually still training. I think he's taking a bare knuckle fight, which is insane. So Tommy is co-hosts a show with Paulie. Tommy will be on the live stream on my Saturday, your Friday. So the next 2 days, the next 72 hours, stay tuned to the channel. I'll be doing my normal live streams, but you're going to see some guests on my channel as well. Be sure to follow those guys. Gary from 3D Boxing, follow him. Chilltown kind of keeps a low profile. I don't think he even does social media, which is, you know, that's even more interesting on my end. And then, I mean, these guys are betting like tens of thousands of dollars on bets. So these guys literally, when you hear me say professional gamblers, this is what they do. They just as any entrepreneur or any business person or creative type fully dives into whatever their craft is, what I'm learning over the last 6 months, there are people who do that with boxing. I didn't know that. I've always just been an entertainment bettor. I started my channel with the pure intentions of wanting to create a space for real boxing fans, a space where you wouldn't get my opinions on things. You know, I'll give you my opinions when you ask, but the content that I create, I'm not going to do boxing casual takes. I'm not going to bash fighters. I'm not going to talk trash about fighters, no matter where they are in their career. And over time, through my video series, Stats Don't Lie, which you guys, if you're only on my channel and you only know about my live streams, because these are getting more popular, go to my playlist, Fight Predictions. You'll see the Stats Don't Lie videos. It's in those videos in the comment section over the last few months that you guys were asking me to give you my predictions. So up until 3 months ago, I would just do the breakdowns. I wouldn't do live streams. I wouldn't give you my predictions. So me listening to you, thank you for asking me to do that. Fast forward to the end of August. Now I'm full on doing live streams because I've always bet on boxing. I've always bet on the UFC. I've always made money on boxing. I've always made money on UFC. I just didn't know there was a space to share that. I didn't know anybody wanted me to share that with you guys. I don't watch YouTube. I'm a content creator, I guess, but I don't really sit down and watch content. I don't really pay attention to pop culture. I'm old. I'll be 44 at the end of the year. So my point is, the whole idea that there's people who are making a living just on betting on a sport, and then there's a whole niche on YouTube with channels created around sharing the picks. This is all news to me. So all in all, wrap that up. I say thank you. This is where we are, 9 minutes into the live. 11 people here. This is what I kind of expected. We usually float around between 50 and 70 people in the live stream as it's growing. But, you know, Thursday morning, Wednesday evening, not a lot going on. I did wake up to some new fights, so I could get into that. Oh, we got some comments. Let me give some shout-outs. Boxing Fan's my guy. Biggest supporter. Boxing Fan, you're one of the reasons I started my Discord, so thank you. Boxing Fan has the teal star. He's also one of the reasons I started the Johnny Says Boxing Insiders. He's the first guy to ever join, so I say thank you. New Yorker in the house, Brooklyn. PJ in the house. What's up, PJ? Bath Boy, let's get it. Bath Boy, you was right about the favorites last night. Bath Boy, man, you know what, man? It's always kind of, in gambling, it's sexy to pick the underdogs, but I did my research, mate, and I told you guys in the Discord, I said, look, I've watched the film study on all 5 of these fights. I don't see any of the dogs winning. And the first fight was the one that made us stress the most because our guy was down after 2 rounds, but he ended up getting a stoppage. It's exactly what I picked too, method of victory. So I picked him by stoppage. PJ in the house. I've been looking over the fight. Rimayati is going to win if the fight goes the distance. LF Norturon gasses out and throws only 1 punch at a time in the later rounds. So my man PJ is talking about a female fight tomorrow, or this goes down on the Misfits card. No, this goes down in France, right? Yeah, Rima Ayadi is fighting Elif. She's the woman from Turkey. This fight goes down in France. I don't even know if I'm going to be getting a stream on this, believe it or not. But my only hesitation on Rima Ayadi, let's go over the current odds too real quick to give PJ some love. Rima is a $2.70 dog, meaning you put 100 on Rima on the money line, you get your money back, plus 170, so no, not quite 2-1. The draw 16-1. Guys, with 2-minute rounds, PJ, the draw might be something to think about sprinkling. We know all the draws lately. I don't want to, that's like beating a dead dog, or for a terrible metaphor. What's the whole saying? Beating a dead horse or whatever. Everybody keeps talking about the draws now. And Elif Nur Turan, she's from Turkey. She's a $1.53 favorite. So 100 on her gets you your money back, plus 53 bucks. Here's my issue with the Ayadi, PJ. And when you check the tape, you have to think about the weight classes as well. She's 11-0 with 1 knockout. She's 36 years old. She last fought December 16, 2024. So, maybe 9 months ago. She won a 10-rounder decision. Elif Turan, 10-0, 6 knockouts. The Turkish girl's going to have more power. She's the bigger girl. She's fighting down a division. She has more knockouts. She's younger. She's 30 years old. I think the bookies got it right. I think that I got Turan by decision here. But look, the last thing I ever want to do is try to convince you to change your picks. If you're new to my channel, you'll understand quickly. I'm not sitting on a high horse telling you I'm 100% right and you're wrong. That's not why we do this. Just as PJ asked me for my opinion, he said he's going one way. PJ and I probably agree 90% of the time. But this is why it's not an echo chamber. It's 10% of the time that we're not going to agree, and that's fine. And we continue our chats. PJ, I'm hesitant with betting on Rima just because of the age factor, the size factor, the career trajectory. I think the power by Turan is going to be significant. And, maybe what you're seeing, she lacks volume and she fades. I mean, it's worked for her so far. She's 10-0 with 6 knockouts. And I think you give me her at a plus. Right now, she's $1.54. If I could get her by decision. So if you guys are Aussies, I highly recommend not to use Sportsbet anymore. Sportsbet used to be my go-to betting app, but what they do in Australia on the draw, Sportsbet just your ticket gets toast, right? But if you go to Bet365, a draw will just void the fight. So a 10-leg parlay, 5-leg parlay, a 2-legger. If it's a draw, that fight gets void, your ticket's still active. Sportsbet in Australia, if that fight's a draw, you lose your ticket. So I'm currently now looking at the odds. Riyad Ayali versus Elif. The odds change a bit. Method of victory, I'm taking Elif Turan by decision, $2.75. Yeah, I like the decision on that. I like the favorite. If you like her on the money line, $1.53. If you like the decision, it's $2.75. If you like the knockout, $3.25. Guys, I'm going to be putting up a parlay. We only have 5 fights to bet on. So what I'm going to do is give you guys my money line parlay on YouTube for everybody. And then in the Discord, I'm going to give you my lock of the week, and I'm going to give you my method of victory parlay. So that's in the Discord. It's worth joining. Couple bucks a month. You'll get all of those bets. All right, I'm tapping in now, boys. PJ, yep. FX Coaching, what's up? What do you rate Roach's skills? Is he on that level? Did I miss something? Are you talking Lamont Roach? What do you rate Lamont Roach? Oh, Lamont Roach is world class. He's definitely on. What level are you? Are you FX? What fight are you? Are you talking about the rematch versus Tank? Or are you talking about rumored other fights? Heaven Sent says Albert Bell, Ozzy Iglesias, Karen Chikachin, Artem Harutnian, David Avanesyan need more exposure or need to get signed. Disgrace how they don't get the tech. 100% Heaven Sent, and I'm totally agreeing with you. And Heaven Sent, it was only a couple years ago where you know who else was on that list, Heaven Sent? Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis was on that same list because he wasn't getting marketed. And I did a video that before Eddie signed him, and I was like, the thing that's holding Ennis back is the lack of marketing, the lack of a promotional company behind him. He wasn't getting fights. And in the short amount of time Matchroom has signed him, you know, Eddie in the first 6 months had Jaron headlining in Philly multiple times, and we know he's fighting for his first fight at 154, fighting for an IBO world title against a one-loss Lima. It's a good sort of test the waters at 54 fight. It's for a belt. You know, the Americans won't recognize the IBO as a belt, as an official sanctioning body, but there's certain parts of the world where the IBO is a recognized belt. So people will say, oh, just because I haven't heard of Lima, who is this guy? I mean, he's a one-loss champion in the 154-pound division. I'm interested in that fight. And I agree, Heaven Sent, they do need some more promotions. Artem Harutnian hasn't fought in a year. Either he retired, chilling, or can't get a fight. So Harutnian is a former Olympian. The last time we seen Artem was against, wasn't it Shakur? I don't think we've seen him since that fight. PJ, I think they're trying to get us with this fight, I swear. PJ, follow your instinct, brother. This is what I always say. Follow your instinct, intuition, just like in a fight, just like in life, just like in betting. Having, tapping into our intuition is part of it. You just have to recognize, PJ, only you know this answer. Over the last year, what's your percentage of hits when you're going intuitively or you're going logically? You know what I'm saying? So I'll give you an example. When Josh Kelly was fighting his last fight against Fabio Bea, the odds were terrible, $1.04. He's fighting a really padded record guy. He hadn't fought in a while. Nobody ever heard of Bea. And I think Bea at the time might have either been undefeated or one loss, but you couldn't find anybody on that resume that you had heard of, right? And Josh isn't a knockout artist, and everybody was like, Bea's bigger than Josh. My intuition was like, holy shit, dude. By now, Josh fans expected him to at least be fighting for world titles. He's not injured. He's looking healthy. My intuition is saying, just because, he's not a knockout artist and he's fighting an undefeated guy, because usually I wouldn't take the knockout. My intuition was like, Josh is going to get the knockout. He wants to fight for world titles. He needs to knock this guy out. So I took the knockout at $1.90 and went heavy on it intuitively, and it hit. So, but you don't do that every bet. You know what I'm saying, PJ? So if you're feeling that with the ladies, roll the dice on it. And, she's already plus money. So if you like Ayati to beat her plus money, decision's the $3.25 Riyadi by decision. It's worth the sprinkle. You might be talking me into it now. Looking at those odds. Good morning from PH. Lloyd Henderson. Always appreciate you coming in. PJ says, Johnny, who wins power versus boxer? It just depends, PJ. Because if you have a classical matchup between a power puncher or a boxer puncher or somebody who is a traditional boxer, that's just styles. There's much more to an outcome than just styles. We then have to talk about resume. We have to talk about experience. We have to talk about in matchups. The one thing that I look at, it paid off yesterday in picking my UFC picks, and this is the marker I use with these contender series fights in MMA, are levels. Because you could have the style you want, you could look at the resumes, you might not watch tapes and you might be getting honey dick by looking at the records and be like, oh, this guy's an underdog, but his record's better, and he's a bigger puncher, and he has a 100% knockout to win ratio. And then you look a little bit deeper, and you're like, oh, this dude's just a regional guy, though. He's never stepped up. He's never fought out of North Carolina. Oh, and he's fighting a guy who's already been on the international scene, who trains at City Kickboxing. I'm talking about a fight 2 weeks ago with Cam Roston. And my logical reasoning wasn't the stylistic matchup. It was the level reasoning. You have to ask yourself, what levels have these guys fought at? And this is why in boxing, back to boxing, it's so important that a fighter is handled properly. So part of the handlers, part of the camps, part of the promotional company, especially with the younger guys, is to sort of maneuver them and guide them properly with matchups. FX coaching, is Lamont Roach on the same level as Tank, Teo, or... I mean, FX, to answer your question, I think Lamont answered that question for you against Tank. Lamont Roach is world-class, 100%. Roach is another guy who could use a little bit better marketing and promotions. Is he on the same level as Teo or Hitchens? He's a little bit smaller. He's a little bit smaller than Teo or Hitchens. We got to remember Hitchens, is a world champion. He cuts a lot of weight to get to 40. Teo's rumored to be taking fights at 47. Roach kind of cut his teeth at 30. So divisions-wise, I think, put it this way, in the rematch, I was going to take Lamont over Tank. Based off of Lamont's skill in the pocket, based off of his catch and countering, based off of the psychological advantage that I would still give to Roach over Tank. I've never been a big Tank fan, but I'm not a Tank hater. I just feel Lamont put the blueprint in front to beat Tank for guys who have quick hands. You can't let Tank bully you, and you can't let Tank methodically do what he does, picks his shots, lulls you into thinking that you're in a false sense of safety, and then catches you on the ropes in like the third or fourth and lands a big shot. What Roach did was like, no, I'm gonna trade with him. I'm gonna punch with him in the middle of the ring, and that's how you beat him. Bet360 needs a sponsor, Johnny. I gotta ask my mom first. Heaven sent. I've been around a channel who promoted Morrell from barely getting any attention to the channel, talking to Benavidez, his father. We as social media channels have to have so much power. Nice, Heaven sent, because realistically, I don't see a change happening, so I must be that beautiful take. Heaven sent. It's maybe too early, but Imamov versus Bahayo, UFC Paris, you got to pick. Also, Ruffy, dude. I'm looking at that Ruffy versus Benoit Saint Denis fight. I was actually looking at it earlier this morning. I'll get back to you on it. Breaking Bad says that intuitive betting that you were discussing is exactly why I took Jasmine and knockout Sam. Yeah. So Breaking Bad, guys, if you're not following Breaking Bad boxing, his channel is new to the game, but he's not new to the game. He's a fighter. He trains. Go follow Breaking Bad Boxing, his YouTube channel. It's growing. He does great breakdowns. And what he says is that intuitive approach is why he took Jasmine to knock out Sandstrom. Breaking Bad, I took Jasmine to knock out Sandstrom from a different approach. I used to manage Lynn Sandstrom for a few fights. And, a little bit of insider info. It was shocking she got that opportunity. I'm just going to leave it at that. Hats off to Tony Del Vecchio, her manager, coach, and I'll leave it at that. Tony Del Vecchio is the guy who runs Bondi Boxing Club in Sydney, and he's had Lynn since she was, since she walked into the gym, I think in 2019. He's gotten her big fights, but she shouldn't have been in there with Jasmine. Victor in the house, my God. Victor in the house, holla. Joel Bennett, Johnny, I paid for him. So Joel Bennett, go to our YouTube channel, go to my interface. I tagged you in a community section that only VIPs have access to. So I tagged you when I woke up this morning, Joel Bennett. I saw that you just joined. Go on YouTube, my channel, you'll see videos, shorts, lives, but then you'll see community memberships. And you'll see a chat with all the boys with blue stars. You'll see the Discord link. If you still can't find the Discord link, send me a message again, and then I'll email you it. How do I get in the Discord? Lamont Chin is cold rolled steel. Victor Verhale stubble coming in. Wonder who wins. I got Albert Bell to beat Keith. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. Albert Bell, the question is, Victor, are we going to get odds for Bell to stop him? Not a knockout puncher, but I mean, what's holding people from... Albert Bell's 32 years old now, 27-0. I think he only has 10 knockouts. Great boxer. I wish he was a little... We want to see more of him. And, me growing up in Northeast Ohio, Albert being an Ohio guy, I got a lot of time for him. DJ Green, what's up, buddy? Pedro, Teo versus Shakur, who you got? I got Shakur. Over that. I'm a fan of Teofimo Lopez. It's a fun fight. We want to see that fight. I would take... It's hard for me to bet against Shakur. Once again, Pedro, it comes down to what have we seen before, right? I've seen Teo lose to Kambosos. I've seen Teo have flat performances against Sandor Martin. I've seen Teo have flat performances against multiple fighters. The kid from Canada who just pulled out against Jermaine Ortiz. The Jermaine Ortiz fight, but then I've seen Teo look good against Josh Taylor. Teo look good against Barboza Jr. I would still take Shakur based off of what his bag is, what he brings to the table, what that problem is for his opponent to have to solve. I've never seen anybody solve Shakur. I've seen people solve Teo before. Ado, are you still in your PJs? Nah, this is my, if you guys know me, if you guys are friends with me, I'm not a logo guy. So like, look at all the pictures you could find of me on the internet, either on my social media. I don't wear a shirt unless it says boxing on it, or like I have these shirts with the graphics. It'll say Youngstown. It'll say City of I get those. There's a t-shirt company out of my hometown in Youngstown who sends me t-shirts to wear. But when other than that, I don't like logos. I've always just worn solid color shirts. So this is from American Apparel. It does look like PJs, I guess. Okay, so I'm catching up. I'm catching up to these comments. DJ Green says, "Did you watch tape on?" Yeah. So DJ, we talked about Rima Ayadi versus Elif Turan, and PJ likes actually the dog. He likes Ayadi based off of Elif Turan's tape. She kind of puts a lot in her punches. He thinks she slows down in her fights, and he likes the dog in this. They're both undefeated. Why I'm leaning on Turhan, the Turkish girl. I like Turhan's power. I like the youth advantage. She's only 30 years old. 60% knockout to win ratio. Neither one has a resume that's going to jump off the page. $1.53 for the favorite on the money line, or by decision, you're getting $3.30. I think there's great value there. Boxing fan DJ Lloyd Henderson, what's your pick? Ayadi just covered it. Artigi was that easy money. Yep. Kiza B, that UFC Paris a good card. That new singing kid are gonna smoke Pitbull. Yeah, we're gonna get to that, boys. We got work at hand. We got 3 cards right in front of us. You know, most boys on the YouTube, there's not action. Guys, we already got action. Who else hit on my picks yesterday in the UFC? I mean, it wasn't rocket science. It's not like I gave you guys a 5-legger that was out of this world, but I know a lot of you boys weren't following the favorites on all of them, and I know a lot of us hit, so hats off. Breaking Bad, I think we're going to see another woman knockout this morning coming up. This morning? Do we got fights? What am I missing with that one? That bell line is too wide. Rambler, do you ever get ghosted by bras, and how do you get over it? Don't give... Rambler, so we could side quest here. Rambler says, do I ever get ghosted by women, and how do you get over it? My advice with women, I've been with my partner, Christina, for 8 years. She's the love of my life. I never thought I'd be able to meet somebody who actually gets me, because before Christina, it was all about sex. It was all about sort of intimacy, physical attraction, infatuation, impulsiveness. And I am kind of a serial monogamous dater, so I've had multiple long relationships. I think getting ghosted is a newer generation thing. I just would, you know, if you're struggling with that, my advice to all young men or all young people who are struggling with their relationships, focus on yourself. There's no, and I'm gonna quote. I quoted this book last week. I shared the book with you. It's called The Book of 5 Rings. Rambler, there is nothing outside of you. Cars, houses, money, and there's nothing external that you need that you don't already have. So the idea that people are ghosting you, that's more about them than it is you. So the second you start understanding that, don't project that out into the ethos. The attraction is real to sort of, you know, focus on yourself, love yourself, upskill yourself. Whatever you're into, upskill it, and then everything else will fall into place. Don't put so much pressure on needing to please people. Please yourself. Mike Ross, is this Dexter? I don't know who Dexter Morgan is. It looks like a comfy onesie. I got a onesie on. Johnny wearing that whole... I'm way behind on the chat, dude. I got to speed up. I'm going to just flash forward. Okay, I'll go to the last 4. Zach Gilmore, great question about meeting women. I'm a fortress of solitude right now. Yeah, so I met Christina at the market. There's no bullshit, 2017, I was going, it sounds crazy. I was going up an escalator at the market here. She was coming down. She waved, I waved. She said, "Don't I know you from the gym?" And I just kept going because I'm awkward in public, mate. Like, I'm on the live streams, and you know, once I know you, I'm very outgoing. I'm a storyteller. You know, I could be the life of the party. But in public, I struggle to meet new people. So it's not like I'm like this with people I don't know. So when we crossed each other on the escalator, I didn't stop. I just kept going. I just went on with my day. And she messaged me on Facebook in Messenger and said, "Hey, Johnny, I recognize you from the gym. I didn't know you moved to this suburb." And then that's how we started talking. And then, you know, I always tell her this story. I always tell people this story. The first year or so of us dating, I didn't even know if she liked me. I didn't even know, it's because she, like, I think I was in my mid to late 30s. She was in her late 20s, early 30s at the time. And by that stage of the game, you know, I wasn't looking for a girlfriend. I wasn't looking for a partner. I'm solely focused in my work. You know, I was working on my second book. I was building things online. I was focusing on my coaching business, and she just appeared out of nowhere. And also, don't force things. You can't force things. People talk about, you know, Bruce Lee, the quotes. That's what he means. You know, be like water is not allowing yourself to pigeonhole yourself in certain ideas or job positions or intimate relationships. Don't force yourself into areas. Just let things flow naturally. That's what he means by that. Level yourself up. Heaven sent. Tramel versus Spence may happen. Yeah, what do you guys make of that tweet? Charlo did the whole lion with the fish, which logically doesn't make sense because a lion would get eaten by a shark in the sea. You know what I'm saying? PJ Rima Hayati is the current champ, more experience, better ring IQ. Okay, PJ, I'm gonna revisit that fight. You bring up good points. I don't like her size disadvantage. I don't like her age disadvantage, and that's what I'm leaning on. She slid in your DMs. Yeah, you bet on Salt Poppy yet? I'm not getting options. I'm not betting on that fight. There ain't no way I'm betting on a dude named Salt Pop. There's no way I'm betting on Tony Ferguson boxing. We don't have to bet on every fight, boys. Sorry, chat. Johnny, I got side chicks. I'm not taking. What flaws are true? John, sorry, chat. And Johnny, I got side. It's okay to have side pieces. We all have. I think having a side piece. Look, if you're gonna have a side piece, that's okay as long as you let whoever your main knows that you're not fucking around on her. Like, there's one thing with saying, yeah, I'm not exclusive. We're not mutually exclusive, so you don't have to be. So you see other girls. There's another thing with saying I'm mutually exclusive with you, but then you cheat on her. That's scumbag behavior. So as long as you're not being a scumbag, I'm not that type of dude. Like, I'm the type of friend growing up with my boys. Like, I'm not a hater. Like, if my boy's fucking around on his girl, the first thing I tell my friend, this is when I was younger, I was like, don't put me in the middle of this shit. Don't bring me around this shit. I was like, I don't support this, and don't ever expect me to lie for you, because that goes against my ethics. And I've always been that dude. And I think because of that, I've really had really great friendships. I'm still friends with the 3 guys I grew up with playing high school sports. So we're going on like a 30-year friendship. And those are our ethics. True friends, true people who love you wouldn't let you hurt people. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're your platonic friends from the opposite sex, whether they're your close mates, whether they're your family. If people really love you, they wouldn't be supporting you hurting other people, especially emotionally. The worst type of dude is the dude who is telling a girl to her face, I love you, and we're exclusive, and then you're going around fucking around on her. Just be single. I'm going to the market right now. Zach Gilmore, let's go. I'm betting on Darren Till. I'm not betting on Darren Till fight. I'm not betting on Tony Ferguson's fight. I am taking Hemphill. There's a legit light heavyweight fight. Sean Hemphill's fighting Ty Martin, I think is his name. Lloyd Anderson, should I pick knockout? Lloyd, Lloyd, there aren't a lot of fights this weekend, and I don't recommend anybody going heavy on any of these fights. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you guys in the Discord my money line, but I'm going to give everybody the money line on YouTube, my money line parlay. There's only 5 fights I'm getting, but I am going to do a method of victory parlay, and on my method of victory, I'm taking Elif Nor-Tehran by decision at plus 330. But the draw, think about the draw. The draw is always in play. Do you have a daytime for Chilltown's guest experience? Yeah. So Adu, Chilltown, good question. Chilltown and I are going live. If you're in Australia on the East Coast like I am, it'll be 11 a.m. Friday morning my time, 9 p.m. New York time on Thursday night. Rambler, got to protect your energy, the real energy behind it. Yeah, man. So I once interviewed, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Trent Shelton, but I used to have a podcast called Ungoogleable. And I wrote my first book called Ungoogleable. And I used to interview everybody. It wasn't just fighters. I'd interview fighters, but I'd interview scientists. I'd interview motivational speakers. And I once interviewed this guy from America. He was doing his Aussie tour. He was a public speaker. His name was Trent Shelton. He has a huge following online. And what Ramblers, he had a quote he told me. He said, protect your peace. And that's what we're talking. You got to protect your peace. I love you, dude. A real homie. Salt Poppy's going to wreck Tiefer. I'm not betting on that fight, boys. Till's going to knock out Nathaniel Bustamante. That's his real name? Okay. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. Dude, make some money on it. I just can't, betting on a Darren Till boxing match, betting on a Tony Ferguson boxing match for me is akin to betting on Jake Paul. So I don't gamble, and I know some of you boys win money on Jake Paul fights. Just out of my own ethics, I don't go there. Next, if I found myself betting on a Jake Paul fight or betting on a Saul Poppy fight, that's a fine slippery slope for me and my personality. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be betting on digital dog races, or like fucking finding on the sports bet thumb war, dude. The thumb war champion from Brazil is fighting the thumb war champion from Argentina. I'm gonna get some late night act. No, so I got to stay in my pocket. I know me better than anyone else does. I can't be fighting, even in boxing. There ain't no way I'm betting on punk ass Saul Poppy fights. That's just it. So when a girl's chasing you in public, look the other way and keep walking. So when a girl is chasing you in public, hold on, did I say? I don't think I said that. Keep walking. What do I do? I need some more specifics. Johnny, 24-hour reset book covers habit topics that could help any singles for anyone that needs a figurative speaking a tune-up. Yeah. Valley, let's go, boy. The lads. Randall Light in the house, my guy. Mike Ross, Jake Paul. Yeah, so Mike, I think maybe you were on the stream a couple months ago. You're right. They are easy money. Hopefully I explained my position. We all have our own positions on things. DJ, digital dog races. Bro, so here's a quick story. If you guys live in Sydney, you'll know this place, but near Wynyard train station. It's a very popular transit station down here in Sydney. I only live a few miles from there. There's pubs, there's awesome eateries. The night scene's really rad, but there's an old school bar called the Occidental. Occidental. It's been there since I think the 70s. Been refurbished multiple times. I used to work at a strength and conditioning club right near there. And our clientele would be CEOs, directors of companies. There were trainers at my gym to this day, dude. They would go to the Occidental, and you could go there and have a beer any time of the day and gamble. There's big screens. Obviously, they had the real races. They had the horses on. But one of the screens was digital greyhounds. And I know dudes who are such degenerates that they're getting live action on digital greyhounds. And I'm like, no, I can't. Dude. There's me betting on Salt Poppy boxing. It's only a couple turns and zigzags away from me at the Occidental betting on digital greyhounds. So Keeza says Salt Poppy would beat some pros. I'll watch some tape. I think I did watch some tape. He would beat some pros. Okay, then he should stop. Then he should stop Ferguson, right? If I'm hearing you boys right. DJ Bay bet table tennis, dude. No, boys, don't bet on table tennis. There's a guy who I talk a lot with on Instagram, and sorry if you're on the stream because your name's different. Even you boys in the Discord, guys, if you're in the Discord, make sure your name is the same on our live stream because sometimes I don't know who I'm talking to. Like, I was talking to a dude on Instagram that's on my live stream, and then he's in the Discord, and they have 3 different names. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know that? His name on Instagram is Parlay, I think Parlay Dog. And he keeps talking me, and he knows his shit with MMA. He hits with MMA a lot. And he keeps talking me into about betting on esports. I was like, bro, no. I was like, I'm not betting on esports. I'm not betting on blokes playing video games, dude. And yes, he's like, you can make a killing in it. I was like, bro, I'm not in it for that. Like I said, and I told him about the digital dogs. The thumb war. I'm betting on pillow fighting Jake to beat Gervonta Davis. I mean, that's probably what we're going to have to do, aren't we? I do. betting on digital greyhounds is next. It is, mate. You know it. Addy, aren't you in Australia? Mike Ross always bet on Joey Chestnut. Dude, Joey Chestnut, if you're the GOAT at anything, hold on. You're telling me that your sports book lets you bet on food contests? See, we're cooked. Our society, you're playing with me, right? You're telling me that you could get action on food eating contests. DJ Green, my name is the same but spelled different. DJ. Yeah. I think, yeah. I think I put two and two together. Joel, oh, we all have different names. I know, man. What the hell, boys? You keep me guessing. I'm going to change my name in the Discord. Mess around and go anonymous out here. And, dude, if you guys are in the Discord, can we please keep it copacetic? 5 weeks in, it's been nothing but this awesome, respectable place. People sharing their picks. Everyone's eating. And then yesterday, after one of my sessions, I had just run a 5K. I get back to check the Discord. The boys are fighting. There's homophobic slurs being thrown out. I'm like, what? So I thought somebody had snuck in. So if you guys are in, I have filters set on the Discord so you guys can't even share the link anymore. Because in the first week when we launched it, some of you boys were sharing the link with some of your mates. So I think a couple of freebies floated in there. I don't know who they are. And also, there's an honor system, guys. If you were a Johnny Says Boxing member and you got in there and you didn't renew your membership, it's an ongoing thing. So could you just please sign back up? Because right now you're in there for free. And, ethically, it's only a couple bucks a month. Make sure you sign back up. PJ, what's this world coming to? Nathan's contest is on Mike, are you in America? Mike, where are you at? Where's Bovada offered? Because I've been hearing, maybe it's you who keeps, doesn't Bovada just give you guys odds, crazier odds? But you're betting on Nathan's contest is insane. DJ Green, it's bound to happen sometimes. People get emotional. Yeah, but what we've done really well, DJ, in the Discord is it's sort of there's a psychological study based off of, it's a leadership study. Whenever, especially in small groups, I don't know if it would really work into the thousands, but in small groups, this is why cities, modern day technology with millions of people are really tough to control, because humans psychologically aren't really meant to be living in groups of larger than 100 people. And there's studies done on this. You guys could look this one up. And so when you look at like how Native American tribes were ruled, when you look at how ancient cultures were ruled, it was usually smaller segments with one leader, and the people sort of fell in line based on the leadership of the one person. And you didn't really have to worry about anyone stepping out of line. The whole study is based off of, the actions of one will trickle down, and then over time, as long as, leadership from the top down sort of thing. And so I was kind of shocked to see the homophobic slurs was getting me. I was like, damn, how do you even, and I'm sort of a guy, even as a coach, I'm not like a sort of screamer coach. I'm not like a blow the whistle guy. I'm not do this guy. I'm a lead by example type of dude. So I'm gonna, if somebody wants to see how a proper squat's supposed to be done, I'll technically teach them, but I'm gonna squat with them for the first few weeks of the session. If I'm teaching them how to box, the first few weeks we're going over technique, but then, by the fourth week, you're sparring with me. So I'm a hands-on sort of guy. So when I saw the shit going on in the Discord, I was like, well, how do I handle this, man? Hopefully the boys just shake it out. Yeah, boxing fan, you missed it. You missed the message from the. Okay, so Mike Ross, Arizona, are the betting rules in America? And I apologize for my ignorance. I left America in 2013. It's 2025 now. Mike is in Arizona. He downloads an app called Bovada. If Mike moved from Arizona to Pennsylvania, would he still be able to use the Bovada app? Let me get that free link. PJ, I've been giving you so much for free, mate. Mar, Johnny, CFB start. It is. Okay, Mar, I have my parlay already working. I started cooking my first college football parlay 2 weeks ago. And it's live, baby. It's a 20-legger. Pays like 40 to 1. I'll put it up there. No, you're right. I'm doing it. I'll do it right now. I have, it's 7:15 a.m. I'm going to stay on for about 15 minutes to give you guys sort of a heads up on the rest of my day. I have an 8 a.m. strength session. I'm running at 9 a.m. My girl Christina is making me homemade granola with yogurt, which I can't wait, at 10. And then I'm going to come back here and do a live stream at 12. And then I have sparring at 3, and then another power lifting session at 4. So I will be going live in a couple hours. You can't use it in certain states. So gambling is state run. It's not federally. So I did not know that. So is gambling, online gambling, looked at the same way like the cannabis laws are looked at? How like state by state? Because it's crazy to me. In 2004, I had a cannabis medical card in Long Beach, California, because I had back pain. And, you know, now I'm pretty sure it's recreationally legal in Long Beach. But in certain states, it's illegal. It might be federally illegal. It's weird how America governs these things. I see the fight, but I barely speak. I just watch and laugh. Yeah, I still don't understand, DJ, why they were fighting. B Money, no, it uses your location. Only certain states have it. And so it's state legislation that passes these. In Arizona, the Native American tribes, the casinos, that kind of makes sense. So that's interesting, though. Daily Dig in the house. Has the idea of running a promotion ever crossed your mind? So Daily Dig, good question. So I had I managed fighters before, boxers, and then I helped one of my guys who's a MMA journalist, an independent journalist, similar to what I do in Washington D.C. He's currently started a regional MMA promotion in the D.C. area, but yeah, this is it's a lot of work, and I put a lot of work into everything I do already. And once again, if you've been watching this whole live stream, I don't force anything, so everything's exactly how it's supposed to be. That's how I look at life. You are exactly where you're supposed to be based on the choices and your intention, without getting too woo-woo. That's how I look at life. So effort, but it's a good question. Running a promotion, man. If you're talking about fight promotions, or maybe I'm overlooking that, or maybe you're saying like a giveaways on the channel. See, per ring, Murataya Schofield is in the works. Let's go. I would take Schofield. Look at me. I've flip-flopped. I like Murataya, but I think Murataya short arms his punches a bit. And it's, you know, that explosivity. Both guys are young. Ooh, it's a good fight. I'd have to look into it a bit more. I don't like jumping the gun in terms of, you know, impulsively picking a winner unless the fight is official. Some states are really strict. State, okay. Jolo, it's still better to have medical card, less taxes. Yeah, this is a fun story. In 2004, the neighborhood I lived in Long Beach was called Belmont Shore. So if you're familiar with Long Beach, it's the last town in LA County before you get to Orange County. So it sits right on, there's a neighborhood, but if you go to North Long Beach, like Compton is literally the edge of Artesia in North Long Beach, right? It's a bit different than where I live. But if you take one road, Redondo Avenue, if you're taking the residential streets, you could take Redondo Avenue. No, I think Redondo might dead end into Signal Hill, and then you have to actually get on the 710 to get to Artesia. And so my point, though, is I lived in this neighborhood in Belmont Shore called the Peninsula, which is like this little stretch, one street. Ocean Boulevard goes all the way to the ocean. The ocean's on the right, and then on the left, they built this sort of neighborhood in the 1960s with like 14 streets called the Peninsula. And then there's a bay. So you have Ocean Avenue, the ocean, about 14 streets like this, and then the bay. And I lived on one of these streets on the Peninsula, 62nd Place. And across the bay, there's an awesome neighborhood called Naples Island. And in Naples Island, there was a weed dispensary. And in 2004, they couldn't market it. There were no signs. You just had to be told word of mouth. So I would stand up paddleboard across the bay. It was probably only like 100 yards. I would stand up paddleboard across the bay to my weed doctor. I'd go in there. It was like this little, like it looked like a 2-level duplex with no signage. There'd be an armed security guard. I'd go up, show him my card. I'd always go on Tuesdays because if you bought an eighth on a Tuesday, they'd give you a free brownie. So I'd get an eighth. This is 2004, boys. I was a maniac back then. And then, but yeah, this was almost over 20 years ago. I was stand-up paddleboarding to my weed doctor. I'm starting a comedy promotion. I'm hiring comedians. One of my good mates is a famous comic. I never talk about him. But yeah, a kid I grew up with. When I was 16, he was 14. He was on my baseball team. He was my my little homie. He's a really world famous comic. I don't like name dropping. Jake Paul versus Tank will be stacked. Yep. Hold on. Jake Paul versus Tank will be stacked, no doubt. PBC will most likely put their fighters on it. We're waiting. We're waiting. Did you and TJ come to? Yeah. So Mar, we're live streaming tomorrow, Sydney, Australia, 11 a.m. New York, Thursday, 9 p.m. Boxing fan Johnny was on some. No, it was legal though. It was legal. It was legal. Good combo, eighth and a brownie. That Tuesday boy, that Tuesday joint. Give me a little eighth. You know, I would. What was it? That sour diesel was the one. They'd have purple haze, which was the one. What else would I like? Dude, I used to, because I would then, dude, the weed was like so powerful in 2004. I stopped smoking green probably like, 2011. So I haven't really smoked weed in like over almost 15 years. And in 2004, the stuff I was getting was insanely strong. I can't imagine what the weed heads have turned the weed into these days. Cannot wait to be a girl uncle one day. Nice. Can you paddle under the influence? Man, at 21, 22 years old, mate, I was doing everything under the influence. I lived a decade under the influence. I lived a decade under that influence. I was a maniac, mate. Joel, I live 20 minutes. All right, Joel. Yeah, so you know the neighborhoods I'm talking about. The best sushi in the world. So I go home twice a year. So my home is Northeast Ohio. So my route, I fly from Sydney to LA, 15 hours nonstop. So from Sydney to LA, 15 hours nonstop. Land in LAX. I either get picked up or I get a car, and I drive from LAX to Long Beach. And I'll stay in Long Beach for 2 to 3 days, reconnect with some old savages, and then I'll fly to Ohio, Cleveland, and then I'll stay with my family for about a week, and then on my way back to the West Coast, I'll stop in Vegas where I used to live, and then work my way back to LA to fly home to Sydney. But there's a sushi place on Pacific Highway called Sushi Studio. Oh God, it's right near Long Beach State, Pacific and Clark Street. It looks like a little shack. To this day, the menu. If you're ever in Long Beach, go to Sushi Studio, order the Lynn Special, Sunrise on 2nd Street, and then Sexy Girl. These are 3 rolls. Meat rack. The weed is too strong. Yeah, you got to retire, baby. Do you regret your... Nah, I don't regret anything. No. Daily Dick, great question. Do I regret my... Nah, hell no. Dude, I don't regret anything. Yeah, I don't... Nah, I actually wouldn't change anything because, you know, you have to... We grow up as boys, right? Depending on your family dynamic. And then you're just put out into the wilderness. It's like, all right, you wake up, you go to bed a boy, and you wake up like an 18-year-old or 19-year-old, at least in my generation. I left my family at 18 and I never lived with them again. And I just survived, and I didn't come from money. You know, I told you guys before, I grew up on welfare, struggling. And then when I was 14, my mom had graduated college, she'd become a nurse, and then she'd bought a house in a very nice neighborhood in Youngstown, which, I mean, a nice neighborhood in Youngstown, it was nice, it was safe, and I went to a nice high school. But I always didn't fit in because I went from being one of the only white kids at a Catholic school. All my friends growing up at St. Anthony's were black. One of the only white kids, me and Nick Bellino, from kindergarten to 8th grade. And then I go to Liberty High School, which is an all-white high school, but I was one of the only white kids on our basketball team. So we had it was a basketball powerhouse, and all the basketball players were black, who then they became and still are my close mates. These are the guys I met when I was in 14. So at St. Anthony's, I'm a certain, you know, this is all I knew. And then I go to Liberty. My point is I never fit in anywhere. So by the time I was 18, I was like, I'm out. So fortunately, I got some, you know, offers to play baseball, you know, moved to Pittsburgh. But you figure things out. Man, dude, I read my first book on Googleable. The very first sentence in my first book. In Ungoogleable, my first published book, I write, I'm pretty sure I'm the only guy ever to move to Las Vegas to find himself. So when I moved to Las Vegas at 27, a mess. So do I regret any of it? Hell no. You can't regret anything. We're alive. How could we... My whole mindset on everything in life is, you know, I'm going to squeeze the juice from the orange. You know what I'm saying? I'm the orange. You're the orange. How, you know, there were a couple people ago, let's say humans live, we'll say to 80 years old, okay? So all of our lineage, wherever you come from in the world, wherever your upbringing, whatever your past is, everybody has a story. If the average human lives for 80 years, 80 years rewounded from now was what? 1925, 15, 1910. So 1910, or my maths are off. 2025, 1925, 1935, 1940. So one person to go 1940, two people to go 1840, 1855. So just two humans ago in your family, there was no technology. Electricity just had been invented. Three people ago, 1700s, people were living until they were 30 years old. So, and four people ago in the 1600s, it was pure savagery. So my point is, we're the orange. Our life is the juice. The idea to have regrets never made sense to me because I'm going to live my life squeezing as much juice as I can out of the orange, and you're going to make mistakes along the way. So at 43, there's still juice, so I'm still squeezing it. So me at 43 obviously isn't me at 23, definitely not at 33. So making adjustments is super important as well. Checking in, the boys. Victor in the house. Muscles in the house. Money Meets with the best check-in. Yer. Need to get a shirt. Yer. So boys, Muscles is good. I'm gonna last couple minutes remind everybody, if you're still on the chat, 33 people, I say thank you. Tomorrow I'm going live, my 11 a.m. 9 p.m. on the East Coast with Chilltown Boxing. He's one of the sharpest bettors that I've met. He's one of the best handicappers in the game, meaning that he's doing film study. He's doing his breakdowns. We're going live for about an hour tomorrow. The following day, me, Muscles, Gary from 3D, and Tommy Ranone, Tommy the Razor Ranone, who has a show with Paulie Malignaggi, will be going live the next day. So guys, we're giving you as much value as we can. We're coming together as a team. Follow Gary from 3D's channel. Follow Tommy and Paulie. I think they have a podcast as well on YouTube. I already gave you guys, there's some boys in the Discord, like Nick, who has a channel called Breaking Bad Boxing. Follow him. And guys, also, if you're on the channel and, you're tuning in, you're tapping in, and you're a content creator or you want to get a channel started and you sort of, have launched it, share the links with me. I'll share them on my Instagram. I have a Facebook group with about 38,000 people in it. I don't promote it here because it's a different it's Johnny Says Boxing on Facebook. I could throw the link in the Facebook group. And because what we're doing is, over time, just as I've done on my channel, we're building a community with like-minded boxing fans who like the sport of boxing, like combat sports, and we're developing a nice little community. So from that end, I'm going to start wrapping it up. I'm going to give you guys, Victor in the house. I appreciate you, Victor. Yep, fix those mistakes. Victor, boxing fan, appreciate you, brother, like always. B Money, Chilltown, he is a beast. Rambler, Para will make us rich when he beats McCoy.